So we're going to do a video from start to finish of the night of my wood burner that's running the central heating system. Okay. Now I end up picking up plenty of pallets and I've got access to free or cheap wood. So I've got this now doing the central heating. So just lit it, as you can see, fan's not even going. And there's our pipes going to go around the radiators, and that fan's going to come on 5 or 10 minutes and heat the room. So I've been on 20 minutes now, and we've got a pump. Oh, it's there. You won't be able to see it. And let's see if you can see that. So that's my digital switch. We've put a program in. So you press the program. For the first 20 minutes, nothing happens. Just sits there doing nothing. Then it kicks in for 10 minutes and it dumps all the heat around the system. Can't tell on the first go. Then it has a rest for 10 minutes, then it dumps it round, so it's on for 10 minutes, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. So it's giving the opportunity for it to get warm in this area here, and then it's dumping it around the rest of the house, all the rest of the radiator, so we're getting an even distribution of heat, which for a wood burner is a big problem. It just tends to heat the one room or the one in little area, and everywhere seems freezing cold. Whereas it does really work. It does distribute the heat around the house. The other thing why I'm putting it on a timer is, so this is a 4-hour program that I've created, and it's about 100, let's say it's a 100-watt pump. So that's using 100 watts per hour. It's not a lot. So for 4 hours, it's going to use 400 watts. I won't be using that. I'll be using 200 watts because it's having a rest. Okay. So it's pumping, having a rest, pumping, having a rest, pumping, having a rest, pumping, having a rest. I'm keeping an eye with the temperature gauge as to what's going on. It's very low at the moment. It's just started and the house is cold. It's not been on since yesterday. So we'll catch up with it later on. See how we're getting on. So I've got an old Victorian house. We've had the loft converted, and it's hit so much insulation up there. It's all to the regs. Well, it's a solid wall house, so there's no chance of putting any insulation at all on the inside or the outside without major issue. So we're on 16.1 at this particular part. It's 4:30. So we'll see how long that takes. I'm not cheating this time because I can stick the combi on actually. Get that temperature right up within 10 minutes. But we're not going to do it. That's another trick up the sleeve. But of course the objective is to use wood power, because it grows on trees, wood, doesn't it? So we're 40 minutes in, I think. Normally light it at 4 o'clock. Pump's having a rest. It's roaring away. Fans on. And of course, we're at best operation temperature according to our magnetic flue temperature gauge. And we've crept up to 50. Right. So it's warm in here, but it's not as hot as, it's not roasting Okay, it's getting warmer. It looks good. So what it's done is it's taken the chill off all the water going around the house. So very soon, not so distant future, it'll go red hot straight away. We're not there yet. So we've got the door off because of the Christmas tree. She's got a huge Christmas tree. Best thing to do is to wedge the door open. And of course it heats the rest of the house, doesn't it? So the other thing I want to talk about is that this is a DEFRA approved A-rated appliance. The UK government has said that's what it is. It's A-rated, so it's the most efficient you can get. I don't know if you heard that, the pump just kicked in. So we're now 17. Can we see that? Oh no, we can't. Anyway, it's 65 degrees. So it's a 12 kilowatt fire stroke boiler, and I think they were saying something like 6 kilowatts goes to the heating or the hot water, and 5 goes into the room. I'm telling you now, 5 does not come into the room. I think you're getting around 1.8 kilowatts, and the rest of it goes around the heating system or the hot water cylinder. The reason why I can definitely tell this is I've known friends who have got wood burners and they just get red hot, you know, so quick, whereas this is not happening. It's definitely getting distributed around the house evenly. So of course that's a win-win. So that's one of the things I wanted to say. So, you know, as I'm sat here nice and warm, I'm not roasting at all. And of course there is a radiator behind me, behind the settee. And that does come on as well. Although, of course, I can turn it off at the thermostat because, you know, we've got 2 heat sources, if you like. With it being 12 kilowatts, the house, it's a 4-bedroom, 3-story house. So, you know, I've got 2 radiators in the loft, if you like, the bedroom and the ensuite. We've got 3 bedrooms on the 2nd floor and the bathroom. Then we've got this room, the next room, the kitchen, and the hallway downstairs. So with it being 12 kilowatt, or should I say, it's doing 10, we've got an 18 kilowatt system. It's underperforming. It's on paper it is anyway. It's slightly too small. I'm telling you now, it works perfect, absolutely perfect. To go energy efficient, you don't go big, you go slightly smaller. So let me explain. So for instance, all I'm doing at the moment is we're doing the kitchen, this room, the hall, the back room, the 3 bedrooms, 6, 7, 8, and the bathroom. So there's 10 radiators for the floor 1 and 2 on a 10 kilowatt stove. Now all I've done is you have to turn 2 off for it to work effectively. I can keep whacking logs on it and whacking loads of coal on it or whatever, and it'll do it. But when there's no one on the 3rd floor at the moment, and there isn't anyone on the 3rd floor, because we're not going to bed at, 5 o'clock, we'll let the heat rise to that room that we've already paid for. So it works out. The best thing to do is to do that. One trick that we do is after tea, there's nobody going in the kitchen apart from to make a cup of tea, is we just turn that radiator off, okay? And if you nip in to make a cup of tea, you just have to go, oh, it's a bit nippy in here. And of course that we do then, we send it up into the loft, okay? Another trick I can do is if I don't want to put as much wood on it, is I can turn 2 off. So I'll pick another 2. So I'll go, right, well, I've got 2, for instance, in the hall downstairs. Do I need to heat the one near the kitchen door? So we turn that one off. You can keep locking them down. what I always do is make sure the kids' bedrooms are always on, and go around regulating it by just walking around every so often. You can, of course, I mean, what I could do is, of course, I could get some thermostatic radiator valve heads and pre-program them to turn on and off at certain times. But 300 quid, I can't be bothered. So I might do in the future, but at the moment, this works well. So of course I could have a program so that at 6:30, when no one's in the kitchen, we've had our tea and washed up or whatever, it just turns radiator off, it just turns it off. So that's an option, and perhaps when the cost of these things come down in the future, that might be something that I consider. At the moment, basic is better. The other thing I can do, of course, is turn a valve off at the back, and we just use the combi boiler as usual, just like everybody else. You know, and heat the entire house without this on. Another thing I can do is turn the radiator off behind me, have the combi boiler on, and it whizzes round the stove, and that acts like a radiator, so it gets warm. It's not red hot, it gets warm. The fan does come on with the combi on. It does look a bit odd with nothing on, but it gets hot. My only thing is, well, some of that heat is going up that chimney that I'm paying for, but it's not the end of the world. And of course, some people would have a dampener on that and just turn that off. Our controls on this are at the bottom. The one on the left is for coal, and the one on the right is for wood. Let's have a bit of a zoom in now. Let's see if we can see. You can see the air jets at the back. They look like gas flames. It's just air being injected at the back. And of course it comes around the side here. Okay, so it's supposed to be, it's called the clean air wash system. It's supposed to stop the front from going black or from sooting up. I like to clean the glass, so I've never left it. So I don't know if you'll see, I'm going to demonstrate what we do. So I'm going to pull this lever across, and what it should do is it should alter the flame picture. Those gas, it looks like gas, it's air being injected, the back should stop. You see it change? Ever so slightly. I'm going to open it. Yeah, you can see that. So the idea is, if I want to be tight and try and make sure we use less wood, flick it that way. And if I want the house to actually get warm, and to warm the actual room, flick it that way. The one on this side, I do that. That allows air in from below, and that's for coal, which we're not burning today. And that closes it off at the back, at the bottom. So I found, keep that closed, keep that fully open. If I'm going to bed, I could just slide it a bit. We don't tend to touch it. It works, the system works better like this. I can feel the heat now. Let's roast it. These are untreated pallets that we get hold of. There's no paint on them, no chemicals, no treatment. And of course our traditional dry. It's all supposed to be dry, all is dry. Timber. So I'm just looking at my weather app. So we're here in Manchester. I'm looking at around 5 or 6 degrees. So that ain't too bad for Manchester, but it is coldish. So have you just seen outside temperatures 6 degrees, going colder, and it's just around 400 degrees to Flew, and we're on about 55 and climbing on the central heating flow. Temperature, if you can see that. Tell you what, it's getting hot. Got a bit of soot on the window. Hour and 10 minutes in. I can't see it. We're about 68. Okay. The time and temperature. Of course, there's our little smart switch. So it's just knocked on. So that's going to now pump that round. And I'm expecting heat either next 5 minutes or next 20 minutes, depending on how many logs and things I've put on. And starting temperature of the heating system, which, believe me, it was cold. And we're getting too hot now. Not quite there. So it says. So let's talk about the pipework arrangements. Okay, so this will operate without electric. Okay, so I've done something which made it work all on gravity to a point. Okay, so for instance, if you look here, okay, you've got radius machine bends instead of using elbows, and everything's gradually sloping upwards all the way. It goes all the way up there, all the way along the side to the pump, shoots across to the main heating system, and all the way it's rising, all the way. And of course this is heating up. So what it would do, and I've already tested it without the pump on, is it would heat up about 5 of the radiators upstairs, okay, without the pump on. But of course it's not going to pump back downstairs and do down here. So what it would do is it would do the bedroom above, the kids' rooms, and it would actually do the loft as well, but it wouldn't heat downstairs. Okay, one of the bedrooms, which is my daughter's, which is a bit of a distance away, plumbing wise, it would struggle, but it gets a bit warm, and the radiator's above there. Okay, so it's quite a long distance away. It's got to go all the way up, along the hall, and into her room. Well, it's difficult, so it's going to go the easiest run because it's gravity, and the easiest run is this side of the house and anything above it. But again, it will run without the pump, but the pump gives it that little bit of a boost and evenly distributes it all the way downstairs and to, of course, my daughter's room. Hello fellas, are you warming up? So, an hour and 20 minutes now, and we've got our huge radiator behind the sofa. It's a big double, covered in washing to dry. Warm. This one's warm. The one behind here is warm, and the one in the kitchen, it's a right big one, is warm as well. And the 2 kids' bedrooms is also warm. I wish I had a heat gun to prove it to you. Did have one, no idea where it is now. Didn't find any use for it. So that gives you some idea as to the heat being distributed. It's not banging hot in here either. It's not like traditional wood burner where you're going, oh, it's too hot, it's too hot, it's too hot, it's too hot. It's nice, you know. So we are too hot on the flue at the moment. 70 degrees. Can you see it? It's too hot for me to put the phone or camera near it at the moment. We'll check that later on. So here's the kitchen radiator. As you can see, it's a huge K2 double, 1600. We'll just go through the door. It's a good one to turn off, as well as the kitchen. So we do opt for these two later on. So Mrs. Plumber has been to the shops and just dumped it there. So there is lots of clothes all over the place on the radiators, and we're saving on drying costs at the moment, of course, because it's a free burn, so free drying. So we've got these gloves. You don't really need them to open the door. I mean, you wouldn't open the door now, would you? Look how it changes. We'll leave it. So I mean, you can use some wood. It's roughly a bucket an hour of wood. So we do have it on for 4 hours or so. So it's 4 buckets, which is a mixture of logs, crates that of course haven't got any chemicals or treatment on. There's loads coming from the supplier where I'm always going there and buying stuff, and they're just throwing them in the skip. So we're doing each other a favour really. So one of their logs, typical logs as I like to call it, is not really a log, but it burns like a log. Obviously when you're chopping it, make sure you don't hit a nail. That's why it's cut in a certain way. So we've got loads of those. I mean that's from a crate. That is because it's been outside on the soil. So about 84, something like that, and pump has just, you can see it, it's behind there anyway, you can see that, you can see little dots. That's just kicked in, and that's going to dramatically reduce that temperature and whiz it around the rest of the house. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Can't hold it, it's too hot. It's only been a minute, pump's still on. Temperature is reducing. Okay, we're going to about 68, it's about 70, so that's going to reduce and reduce and reduce and reduce next minute and a half. The radiators are absolutely banging hot. Okay, so we're on an hour and a half roughly, and as you can see the temperature's significantly rised. So we'll have another look later on this evening when it's at 21 or whatever it gets to. But it's getting too hot now, so we're going to have to start putting on the big fat logs, which slows it all down. Alright, so, but we've got the heat now, after an hour and a half, starting from cold. That's, to me, a roaring success. And no gas has been involved with heating the entire house. So we've got all downstairs heating, and the second floor, and I could do the third floor, there's no point. I'll let all the heat rise, and all the heat in here, of course, is going to go straight out this door. Mrs. Plumber, and up the stairs and away to the loft. So this is where the heat's got to naturally rise. You can see 3 floors up. It's a chimney, isn't it? So we're pretty much at 20 degrees, right? Another 6 or 7 minutes later, the bucket is empty, and we started with the material inside. So we've used a bucket and probably half a bucket So that's right, on an hour and a half, I've used a bucket and a half. So that's where we are with it. And I'm too hot, I can't film, it's just roasty toasty in here. So this is why we leave the door open. I'll check back later. So I've also got a cheat. So to get to this point, if I want to jump forward an hour and like 15 minutes, I'll light the stove, light the wood burner, stick the combi on as well. And after 18 minutes, the house is roasting. It's been using eco mode on the gas. And we get to this point, so we jump forward an hour, and I've only had the boiler on 15 minutes. The gas boiler, I mean. So that's a little cheat I can do. Don't like to do it though. But sometimes you just think, we got in late, let's cheat. And of course, it's wood all night apart from that 15 minutes of combi. So here's our Worcester boiler, plastic insides with a wood burner on. Let's look at the pressure. Yeah, just check, it's off. And what have we done? Put one of these valves on. It's a check valve so that it won't enter the boiler just before the tea, before the loft. So when the loft's on, it goes that way up towards the loft, and it won't enter the boiler because it only go one way with this valve, and we're going to be pumping this way. Okay. When the combi's on, it pumps this way. Alright. About 10 quid they are. A bit dizzy under here. We're a drafty hall. Drafty, 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 drafty. Daughter's bedroom, look how big that one is and how far away it is. Alright. It's got a big room. And up here you see, we've not turned it on yet. So I turn it on after I've washed up. Oh, you're up here, are you? Yeah. Alright. Got a huge radiator up here, it's turned off. So we are too warm now. Put some proper logs on as well, as you can see. Proper logs, so these are slow burning logs. The temperature will drop as we are getting a bit too hot now. So what we've done now is I've turned the kitchen off, okay, that radiator, and we've shut the kitchen door, so no one's going to go in there tonight apart from to brew up and possibly go get yourself a wine or something, but nobody's living in there from that point. The other room next door where the guinea pigs are, we've turned that one off as well, as it's warm enough and we don't need any more heat tonight. So we've got this room banging out the heat, going up the stairs. We've got the two radiators in the hallway in different positions, shooting it up the stairs. The kids' bedrooms, the three kids' bedrooms are always being on. Tempting to turn the bathroom off as you're only going in for a wee or something like that. You know, you're not living in there. And of course, I've now turned my bedroom on, which is in the loft, which is 3 stories up. So we've just diverted the energy or the hot water to where we now need it, okay? And of course, what we'll do then is the next hour or so, we'll just see how warm we are. It was looking quite cold outside, so we might leave it on a bit longer tonight. But I want to put the last log on an hour and a half before I go to bed. otherwise I'm going to roast to death. So that's pretty much it. So hopefully it's been an interesting video for you, and like I say at the beginning, there's not many that have got the pipes on. It's very hard to get them with the pipes on, and even harder to get someone to plumb it in. It was a learning curve for myself, and probably do another video on how I did it, to be fair. But this is just an operational video, and how you know, how we get on and how we use the so-called 12 kilowatt wood burner in an 18 kilowatt or 20 kilowatt house. So we just turn 2 off. We pick 2. I normally ask the wife, which 2 would you want turning off? And it's always the kitchen and the other room. And we'll just sit in here later and crack open a bottle of wine or something. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Comments are welcome, good or bad. And see you soon.